Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm Alicia Haygood. Well, I don't know about you, but spring is officially here because guess what? It is spring training. I love to see the influx of people that start coming from the beginning of Barrett-Jackson to the Waste Management Open, Arabian Horse Show, and spring training. It really just brings an influx of different people from all over the United States. And to me, it really just shows how amazing Scottsdale is that everyone wants to come see us. So I'm really excited to introduce you to Dennis Robbins for those that may not know him, but many of us do here in Scottsdale. He is the executive director of the Charros, which really owns spring training here in the Valley. As you all know, spring training is starting right now. We have a month long of it, which really just brings in an influx of people coming in. So, of course, we check in with our favorite State Farm agent, Jeremy Mueller's here to tell us how to keep safe, pay attention, get off your phone, and just be careful. So, Jeremy, you and I were just talking the waste management, I am not allowed to call it waste management, the Phoenix WM Open was here because we all know what a crazy weekend that was. But it brings in a huge, mass amount of people to one location. Then we have Barrett-Jackson, one location. Spring training is a little different, that it's kind of all over the Valley.
Yes. I mean, spring training traffic, though, think like we've got the Rockies and the Diamondbacks at talking stick up here. So, and what's going on the 101 right now is the 2-year nightmarish.
It sucks.
Merging. Do you merge? Do you not merge? Where do you pull over? So be careful, right? Like it's a mess. I forgot I was on a podcast. I was going to say something else, but the traffic is worse. People are not paying attention. Everyone's on their phones, and I got to tell you, like it's not a day does not go by where we don't get an accident on the 101. It's a nasty freeway to begin with, and now add in this construction, and you got to really be on point and alert. It doesn't matter if it's 9 in the morning or 5 at night. I mean, it'll take you 45 minutes to get to Old Town right now.
It really does. And I mean, I don't know about you. I was not aware that it was like starting right now. I don't know if I missed the email or just didn't pay attention because I was in denial. But you have to be careful. There's no merging lanes anymore. And
There's no merging. Yeah.
Right. And that's what's catching people off guard is like, you have to pay attention because you have no merging. You're just on the highway and it's causing accidents from that alone.
Right. So, I mean, so sometimes when those games get out, I remember last year, those games get out, with their afternoon games, they get out at 3, 4 o'clock or whatever. So you've got an influx of people that's going to add to that rush hour. Yeah. And it's going to be a bad traffic month. So just allow yourself plenty of time, be alert, be careful. And pay attention.
The out-of-state drivers, this is a lot. The snowbirds are officially in town now for a couple months, but this brings in a lot of other people that typically don't come or only come for right now. They're not familiar with it either. You are seeing an influx of out-of-state tags right now. We see that a lot, which only adds to the problems that we're seeing.
Correct.
Listen, another topic I want to bring up really quick with you is it's been all over the news, especially here in North Scottsdale. We've had some burglaries. I know you are definitely getting a lot of calls about this. Really quick, just give me 3 things that you think that we should do to keep ourselves safe. And if it happens, what should we do before we call you or when we call you?
Can you repeat that one? The audio was for a little bit.
One of the things, I'll take that out and we'll do the next thing.
Yeah.
Jeremy, with everything that's going on in spring training coming up, what are one of your favorite events that goes on? And are you planning on catching any spring training games yourself?
Yeah, I probably won't get out there too much this year. I do like the weather's beautiful, right? Unfortunately, we had the worst weather of the year when the Open was here, but now it's just gorgeous. So this is the time to hike. This is the time to be outside. This is the time to ride bikes. This is the time I love the green belt, as I've talked about on this podcast. So that's the kind of stuff I like to do. The baseball is going to have, given that the Diamondbacks made the World Series run, we've got they're going to have a great attendance here.
I didn't even think about that. That's so true.
Yeah. So everyone's really excited about that. Not sure how much I'll be able to get out there, but I am looking forward and I'm enjoying this time of year here. Definitely.
And I like it. We're a little north, you and I, which is great. So we're out of the mix, but we are by the trails and by all that, which is so nice for us. But even they're getting busy right now. Again, a lot of people aren't prepared for that. So be sure to bring water, be prepared for those long walks. Sometimes tennis shoes are not enough. So it's another reason to just be cautious, be aware of your surroundings and help one another.
Be aware of your surroundings.
All right. Well, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to have Dennis Robbins from the Scottsdale Charros on. He's going to talk all about this year's spring training and how we can get excited.
Awesome.
When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com.
The crack at the bat, peanut shells on the ground, and a nice cold drink underneath the clear blue skies. Well, that only means one thing in town, and it is spring training. A time for us to gather with our family and friends to watch the greatest game in America. Watching some of these players try to make it to the next level while watching some of our favorite players up close. Of course, here in Scottsdale, our home team is none other than the Orange and Black San Francisco Giants. And the Orange and Black are taking over the city as guests from near and far come to our amazing city. The Baltimore Orioles started here in 1956 for the spring game, and in 1961, the Scottsdale Charros put Scottsdale on the map for spring training for the West Coast teams. Executive Director of the Charros, Dennis Robbins, knows all too well what this next month means to the Charros and really the city of Scottsdale. So Dennis, thank you for taking time. I know this is like your super busy season. I really just want to start off, talk to me about the Charros as a whole and really what they mean for the Valley here in Scottsdale.
Yeah, thanks, Alicia. So good to be here, and thanks for talking about spring training, our favorite subject.
Oh, yes.
So the Charros were created to really host spring training back in the 60s. And back then it was a lot different than it is now. And we were really the boots on the ground, and we sold tickets, and we were ushers, and we were concessionaires. And so we just really wanted to make Scottsdale proud about what we were doing in our downtown. And a few years before that, in the 50s, they built that stadium. And like you say, the Orioles were there first. And we've had 5 teams over our history. And so, and it's evolved like everything else has evolved. You know, the sporting industry's evolved and spring training's evolved. And so, but you really can't get away from that, as you say, crack of the bat and the peanut shells and people coming out to watch the game. So really, we were created by the Chamber of Commerce here in Scottsdale in order to help host spring training and make it the best event that we can. And we've had the Boys and Girls Club help us in the past, Scottsdale Healthcare Auxiliary help us in the past. And now it's just really a 3-way partnership between the city, the Giants, and the Charros to put spring training on at Scottsdale Stadium.
You talked about the beginning of it. There are originally like 5 teams. What were those 5 teams besides the Orioles and then now today the San Francisco Giants?
So there's been a lot of different teams come in and out. You know, we had the Giants were actually out in Casa Grande. They built this big facility there. There were teams, the Padres, I believe, were in Yuma. The White Sox were down in Tucson. And so really they were all spread out.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like the model that happened in Florida, where they're all up and down the coast of Florida. And then things started consolidating. And actually in the 80s, we were really at a loss as far as facilities and trying to keep the teams here. And the Giants had been here for a few years, and our stadium had kind of run its course. And so they wanted a new stadium. And so in 1989, the citizens of Scottsdale passed a bond election for $8.9 million to build a new stadium. And so the stadium that you see now was built in 92, opened in 92. And then we made some updates in 2005 and then 2019. In 2019, we put in $50 million into the stadium and really had done a lot of work for the Giants and their facilities and the fan experience as well. So there's always constant improvement going on. In fact, after this season, they're going to make some more improvements out into the outfield for the fans. and hopefully adding some more shade on the inner bowl. And so, yeah, they're always trying to improve the fan experience, make it a better place to go and watch a game for everyone.
Let's talk a little bit about that fan experience. The Charro Lodge and the Scottsdale Stadium is something unique. Spring training, let's be honest, is really something unique that is unlike the seasonal games. You know, you get this intimate a connection with the players. It's a smaller venue. You get to see some of your favorite players. You get to see these guys that are trying so hard to make it to that next level. Talk about like what you feel and experience when you go to these games.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. You know, people ask when we have a game, they'll say, "Who are the Giants playing today?" And I say, "I don't know."
Yeah.
You know, the Giants and another spring training team. Does it really matter?
No,
because
it's true.
You really don't. Yeah, I mean, you don't really see your favorite player all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, they invite all their minor league players here, and so what's the regular roster's 35 players, and they add another 150, 200 during spring training. So there's a lot of people running through here. They have split squad games where half the team will be, in Scottsdale, half the team will be in Glendale. And so they're just trying to get in as much baseball as they possibly can. And in fact, the Giants built a facility right at Papago Park, where they have a lot of it's their minor league facility. So they have minor league players there year round, and they're developing them and trying to get them up to the major league level. And so really there's just a lot of players coming through that stadium trying to make it, as you say. And it's really fun though. You get to go and see and all the people warming up. If you come early, you get to watch all the players warm up and they're on the field. We have a practice field next door. We have a half field next to the Charro Lodge as well. And so it's really cool. There's baseball really going on all around at the stadium. And you as a fan can watch that happen from different places in the stadium.
It really is. It's like something you've never experienced. The Charros is an organization that gives back so much, and this is a huge fundraiser for you guys to give back to the Valley. You kind of mentioned the Boys and Girls Club earlier and working with some other organizations here in the Valley. Talk about the Charros as a whole, the purpose, the passion, and where this goes to stay right here in the Valley for us.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, we're all volunteers, and so basically we sell most of the advertising in the stadium. We produce and sell the baseball program that you can buy when you walk in. Mm-hmm. And then the Charro Lodge is a 650-seat VIP experience where you buy a ticket and your food and beverage is included. And so it's much like going to the Phoenix Open where, you just have a lot of time. You can bring clients, you can bring customers or employees. And so it's a lot of corporate kind of people, but it's also, the bachelorette party or the families that want to come or people that just want a different experience. And so it's fun. It's a really good experience if you don't care how much baseball you see, but you just want to be outside and visit. And so that's a lot of fun. So from all those activities, we're able to give back to the community. About half of our money we give to other nonprofit charities in Scottsdale. So we give to about 60 to 70 charities a year.
Oh, wow.
Through a grant process. And then the other half goes to public education. We have our Charros volunteer at every school in Scottsdale. And we have a large education banquet at the end of the year where we honor a teacher from every school and we honor kids from high school. We give out all of our scholarships. And so we really do give back, and we have lots of education programming that we do, and so we're really proud of all the work that we do. But really, it's focused in two buckets. One is other nonprofits that are doing great work, and then the other side of it is public education, trying to level the playing field and recognize teachers, and then also get as many kids, to and through K-12 education as possible.
My son had this teacher first, and then my daughter has her this year. She was a Charros teacher winner at our school a couple years ago, and she was shocked, but it just means so much to be recognized for all the hard work that you do and what you put into education. I get teary-eyed talking about the kids all the time because, I don't want to be a teacher. I'm too smart for that. I tell everyone, I don't want your job. It's too hard. I'm too smart for that. But thank you for doing all you're doing. It does. It makes a difference. These education, the kids, and they need it all. So I love that that's your purpose and passion of really giving back to that next generation and to bring them up and to show what working with your community and togetherness can really bring to that next level for that next generation.
Yeah, we do a really cool thing. After the season, we have a youth clinic where we bring out 10 students from every school. So 10 times 30 schools. We have 300 kids come out, give them a hot dog lunch at the stadium. And then we have retired baseball players, MLB players come out and show them how to throw and field and run the bases. And it's really fun. They just have the best afternoon, in April when it's beautiful weather and they're out of school. It's a really good day.
I mean, you talk about a core memory for you participating in the players as well as the kids, like what other time would they probably get to run the bases in that kind of sense in life?
For sure.
I love that. You all have been around for a while. It started off, as you said, as a wooden stadium, I believe, right? Like the first stadium built till now.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think, why was Scottsdale on the map for them? And I know this started back with, the mayors in the early 50s and stuff like that. Why Scottsdale? Like, what did you think when baseball was coming around that it would do this for our community and city?
Well, I think it was really just an entrepreneurial spirit and also, survival of hotels and restaurants and retailers are like, how do we generate some interest here in our town? And really Phoenix and Scottsdale weren't even connected then. There was Scottsdale just sitting by itself.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And actually what there's a really funny story there. The owner of the Orioles was in town. He had just played golf at some resort or maybe even the Phoenix Country Club. I don't remember exactly where, but he was in the Pink Pony restaurant, which is the old, steakhouse right on Scottsdale Road. And one of the members of the Scottsdale Baseball Club, who was a group of business people just trying to figure out how to get this done, saw him come in and they said, hey, Mr. Owner of the Orioles, why don't you come to Scottsdale and in spring training, bring your team with? And he said, if you build me a stadium, I will.
If you build it, they will come, right?
Right. And so that's exactly what they did. They went out and raised, they sold seat licenses and put themselves in a little bit of a debt, but they built a stadium, the original stadium, for $175,000.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And true to his word, the next year in 1956, I believe, the Orioles came out and played. And they were here for only a couple of years, but that was the start of it in Scottsdale. And that stadium stayed, from 1956 until 1992 when we opened the current stadium.
Oh, okay.
So it was, and they carved out a corner of a farm and built that stadium. So, very Iowa-esque.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, how can it not be? So really the Scottsdale put it on the map. How did the Cactus League kind of form from you all in that sense?
Yeah, like I said, there was some of it going on in different parts of Arizona. And so I think they realized that they had some synergy going in Scottsdale and at Hohokam, and I'm trying to think of some of the other early ballparks.
I know I'm putting you on the spot, trying your trivia.
Somebody just asked me this, and I did a little research, but I didn't commit it to memory as well as I should have, the Cactus League as a whole. But yeah, it's I really do remember, though, in the late 80s when a lot of these teams who had been here, there's only like 8 teams, and the other 20 plus teams were in Florida. And so Florida was trying to get them all to Florida, right? And so that's when Scottsdale passed its own bond to keep its stadium new, and then that's when they passed that county sales tax, that car rental tax, and they started building a bunch of other stadiums, and then Mesa built it, and so it kind of was a domino effect of getting all these teams here. Once you had that synergy, that energy from one or two teams, they all started to fall into place, and it took leadership too. I mean, Governor Rose Mofford and actually John McCain and the County Board of Supervisors. I mean, there's a lot of politicians that get a bad rap, but they're the ones that also saved it as well. So
yeah, don't judge a book by its cover. See what they're doing. Listen, you've been a Charro. I'm not going to call you out for a very long time. You love the Charros. You've been the executive director now for 8 years. What does being a Charro mean to you, Dennis?
It's a way to give back to the community, to play a small part in showcasing who Scottsdale is, what we're about, why it's so great to live here, but it's also really good to give back here as well. And so I think it allows people to want to work hard and play hard and be a part of the history of Scottsdale, the long the long running history. And, we got involved in, about 3 years ago, the Prada del Sol parade, that came to us and said, "Hey, could you guys help us out?" And we looked at it and said, "Yeah, that's right up our wheelhouse," because we really value the Western heritage of Scottsdale. And we have that horseback ride every year that, we do. And so we ride, and we've ridden in the parade for over 50 years as an organization. And so it just made sense. And we love that event. Just had its 70th year. So it's older than spring training, and it means a lot to the community. So it's just who we're about. People just love to live here and give back. And that's just what we're about.
I say that all the time. I've lived all over the United States in different major cities, and there is something so unique about Scottsdale that genuinely people want to give back to each other and help each other and bring each other up and care about where they live. And it's not, a singular place for anyone, and especially the melting pot that it is. We bring in so many people from all over, a lot of Midwesterners we know, but it says a lot about the character of this city when you see what we do for one another and for where we live, I think, especially.
Yeah, it really is. It's really a very diverse community as far as, income levels and people from all over the country, and then reasons why they're here. And it's really cool that you can have a 30,000 acre preserve.
Yeah.
And you could have a baseball stadium in your downtown.
Within 20 minutes of each other.
And a mall in your downtown. We have some very unique features to Scottsdale. And so, yeah, it's important to keep that, keep those Scottsdale vibes going.
I love it. You're so cute. Dennis, between being a Charo at the games or just being a spectator from, being a Scottsdale citizen, what's a favorite spring training memory that you have?
Favorite spring training memory. Growing up here as a kid, we had the rodeo grounds used to be right behind the baseball stadium. And then there was a city pool right next to that. And so, it was super small town way back in the day. And I think even though some of that's gone away and things have been replaced by progress, it's really fun to still be able to go to the game. You still get excited about going to a spring training game. And like you said earlier, the intimacy of the stadium and how close you are to the players, and then how you can just walk. I love one of the great things about traveling to other places is you get to walk people's cities. And so I think people don't walk our downtown enough or realize how walkable it really is. And so I think that's a really nice feature to, where Scottsdale Stadium is located and all the things that are around it. So that makes it really fun you can turn it into a whole day.
Oh, for sure. And, I love this because for so many people, it is so about, we're going to take a vacation every spring and we're going to go to Scottsdale for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks, to spend time here and go to a bunch of different games. Because like you said, there's teams from all over the West throughout the Valley. They're no more than a 20 to 30 minute drive from one another. You get to see so many baseball games in one spot that you would never get to see unless you travel to each state. So It's so cool. I was in Old Town last weekend and just seeing the diversity of everyone's already wearing their team shirts, of who's here and who's not and who they're representing. It to me, it fills my heart with love and joy seeing what we do for the country, really, to bring people together for something as some people say as simple as a baseball game.
No, for sure. And then when you look at the economic driver that it is, and it's like having a Super Bowl every year in our cities, because
that's crazy.
All the economic engine for that is really, really important to a lot of these cities. A lot of these businesses do 40% of their annual sales in the month of March.
Wow.
It's super important, super important.
I know we've bounced back already from COVID and stuff like that. Have you seen an influx from year to year growth as the city, as spring training starts?
It does. They're getting more expensive. It's not a cheap ticket anymore, for sure. And so it is nice to have other options, not to speak against Scottsdale, but like you say, when people come into town and they take in a game at Scottsdale, but then they go and watch their team at the Diamondbacks, and then they go to the Cubs stadium. And so it is nice to go to, we have so many close stadiums nearby that people can take in games in other places, which is really fun, really fun.
I love that. Well, before we leave, I know you're busy because we are starting. It is in full swing. I will use that pun and feel very proud of it right now into spring training. What is your favorite spring training vibe?
Favorite spring training vibe? Well, I think even though, what's really interesting is opening day would seem like it would be the best day, the biggest day, but it's still early in people's calendar. And it's a lot of the times it happens in February. But I think opening day is really fun because it's the first game, the first day, that opening pitch is really cool. And so I think just to get it all kicked off is really fun. So my favorite is just getting that first pitch on the first day is just such a great place to be. And to start off spring training with that opening pitch, the mayor will be throwing out the first pitch, and it'll be really fun.
I love that. That sounds so cool. And I'm like you, I'm such a hot dogs, peanuts, and cold beer kind of person for baseball. And to be underneath these perfect blue skies and temperatures right now, I mean, you really can't beat it. And I'm a Southern girl, so in Georgia, where I'm growing up, it's still a little cold, So to me, I'm in heaven right now.
Right, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dennis. Go check out the games. There's plenty more. I have the link in the description of this episode where you can find all your tickets here at Scottsdale Stadium and more. Dennis, thank you and the Charros really so much for what you do for this community and more. I know it goes without said that we're very thankful to have you all around.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Stay tuned. We'll have the calendar of events coming up next.
Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating, but all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Sean Shackleton with the Shackleton Group is here for you. Sean has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Sean at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com.
There's so much more going on in town besides spring training, but don't forget, there is a month worth of baseball games going on. So you have plenty of opportunities for all day, any day to go check it out. This Cactus League spring training schedule is in the description of this episode. Just click on that. It'll take you right to your ticket link and you can find your team and play with them. The NOAA Fest is hosting a free carnival and health fair on Saturday, March 2nd from 10 to 4 at Cholla Health Center. Come for fun and get a free health check out for all of you and the friends and family and kids. There's going to be lots of face painting, games. There's going to be giveaways for night stays at resorts around town and more. So go parents, check it out and just get to know your NOAA Health Center here in town. And the Persian New Year Festival is also happening on Saturday, March 2nd at the Scottsdale Waterfront from 11 to 6. You could go to the NOAA Festival and then go to the Scottsdale Waterfront and have a day of fun. They put on an amazing event, a celebration of music, fashion, culture, food, and art. All in one breath, I got that, which just means there's so much more going on. Don't forget to check out the episode on our YouTube channel at Scottsdale Vibes Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and more. Don't forget, we also have the Scottsdale City Lifestyle magazine that comes out every month just to showcase more of our wonderful city. Have a wonderful week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.